Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Podcast Strikes Back. My name is George and you're listening to the weekly movie show with the boys Connor.
I'm here.
And Benny.
Hello there.
Welcome to episode 145 of our weekly podcast, aka the coronavirus edition. Oh, it's sweeping the world. It's sweeping the movie world, and that's what we like to talk about on this podcast, movies. And it's coming in like a tidal wave. We're going to be talking about productions that have been affected. We're going to be talking about release dates that have been affected. We're going to be talking about the cinema industry as a whole, streaming. Plus, at the end, we've also got a few we've got a few questions as well from a few of you that we're just going to incorporate in the whole discussion. So. This is going to be a really interesting episode. We only briefly touched on coronavirus at the end of last week's episodes, and it's amazing to see in just a week how it's just taken the world by storm.
The dominoes are falling.
But before we get into all that, let's start things on a happier note and talk about what we've watched this week. Benny, I'm going to share with you a film that I watched this week, and you're going to be really cross with me.
Uh-oh.
I watched Candyman.
Yeah.
And it was fucking amazing.
Wow. I'm so angry.
Why would he be cross?
Because we were supposed to watch it together.
Oh, were we?
Yeah.
You son of a gun.
Yeah.
God damn it. You'd watch that again, wouldn't you?
100%.
Sounds like you would. How cool was it, eh?
Incredible. Like, it's amazing. You know, we've got a Bloodshot review, the new Vin Diesel film, up now, so you can go check that out. But it's amazing to see just how race is treated and how gender is treated in that film from 1993. Like, really, really progressive, passed the Bechdel test, has a really interesting female protagonist.
It's just really mindful about that kind of stuff. It feels ahead of its time in a lot of ways. Even just the basic premise of being a horror movie about urban legends and examining that is so interesting.
It's really fantastic. I was absolutely blown away by this film.
I knew you
and
would
it's
be.
like an instant classic for me.
Now, were you like me and were pretty damn pleased as of like the opening shot of the film?
Oh,
Like the way it's like flying over Chicago with that Philip Glass score and then like all the bees and
Philip
shit.
Glass's score is just incredible.
It's
on it.
amazing, right?
Yeah, he really adds a whole. It wouldn't be as good of a film without his input.
No, solid 2 weeks I pumped that soundtrack just walking around.
Across the board, just a fantastic film. Yeah, what can I say?
Keen for the new one?
And it made me sort of reassess the trailer. It does look vastly different.
The new one?
Yeah.
Mm.
So we're going in a completely different direction here that I'm not sure. Well, listen. I'm open to whatever.
From what it sounds like, it would be very weird if this movie just mimicked the movie or the original, because the original seems ahead of its time. It seems like it's, trying to kind of push the boundaries of its commentary. So you'd almost expect this one to at least try and do the same, or at least take it in a different enough way that it adds something to the, I guess, the franchise or the name in general. Because I mean, that's something that I always find with adaptations of movies, or more specifically remakes of movies, which is
This is a sequel.
Like it in essence, right? Taking something from 30 years ago and essentially redoing it or continuing the story, whatever it is. I feel like you need to provide something that is, more than just updated technology. I don't really see the value in just, putting a shinier look on something and then just saying, give us your money.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think a film that did it really well was Halloween. I think that had an updated look, but it had a few new ingredients for still knowing the source material and understanding why people enjoy it. And I hope they nail it in the same manner here, because the ending of Halloween the ending of Candyman took me by surprise. It went some pretty wild places, and I wonder how this will be able to weave into that and how on the nose it'll be referencing those certain beats, or is it just going to cast certain details aside?
Yeah, I really hope they do it justice, because from what I've heard, the actual or the original 2 sequels to Candyman did not.
Yeah, I heard they're terrible.
Probably leave them alone.
Yeah, I'm going to leave them behind.
Mm.
And then I also like everyone else, like the lemming I am, the everyman
I
I
know
am,
exactly
I
what
watched
you've done.
Contagion. And but you know what? Here's the beauty of it. I add that little George cherry on top. I fell asleep halfway through. Boom shakalaka. These guys will attest to that. These guys have known me the best part of a decade, and they know one of my favorite pastimes is falling asleep halfway through a film. And Contagion got the service, but it was still awesome. And it's
What a glowing recommendation.
it's
I love
no, falling asleep is not any
it's an indictment on you, not on the movie.
Yeah, not on the movie. Exactly. So, but it's still it's very well handled, and it seems like it's a drama. It's not an action film. It's sort of examining the scenario unfolding, and whilst the illness in Contagion is far more extreme than coronavirus, it's really well done. I enjoy Steven Soderbergh's stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say it's kind of a what if, but I guess now it's more of a what is. Because like you said, it's definitely more severe, but the way things kind of pan out and exponentially roll over the world seems pretty familiar now.
In many ways, that's kind of our undoing with this one. Because if it was more severe, like if it presented earlier and it had like the consequences were higher, it would have probably been a lot easier to contain, and people would have probably taken it a lot more seriously. Instead, we have delayed movies.
Oh well, Benny, you watched a few things in the cinema for maybe the last time ever.
I did. As we're going to discuss, box office is well down this week, but that didn't stop me from watching 5 movies in the theater.
Jesus.
One of them, of course, being Bloodshot. Check out our review because it's possibly going to be the only thing in cinemas for a while. I also watched our In Fabric, that horror film from the festival circuit last year about the killer dress is kind of the elevator pitch for it. It was not what I was expecting. I didn't know what I was expecting necessarily.
In a good way or bad way?
But it wasn't it. It was very interesting.
Just an answer.
Creative.
Not in a bad way. It's just it's a very specific film. It is a note perfect modern version of a giallo film, which is just essentially like 70s Italian horror, like Suspiria or something. Like it is unbelievably spot on. It could be from the 70s down to the color of the blood in the film. It's amazing how accurate it is. Now, I haven't really delved into that genre too far myself, so maybe this wouldn't be as effective for me as it would be for someone who really loves that stuff, but I have watched the original Suspiria, and I was very impressed with this, how it captured that, and was just a really interesting film at the same time.
Very distinct look in that in that genre.
Yeah, gorgeous movie, amazing soundscape, quite niche.
Okay.
I watched Queen and Slim, the new
I didn't think that was out yet.
Daniel Kaluuya film.
Yeah. That looks hectic.
Basically, as they say in the trailer, Black Bonnie and Clyde. We reviewed the trailer a while ago. We all thought it
Do you
looked
remember
pretty
this
great.
one, George?
Oh, I can't.
Eyes glazed over.
No.
It's the one where
I don't remember half the trailers.
Yeah,
we
no.
watched.
In the trailer, they get pulled over by two, like a black guy and a black woman, get pulled over by a police officer. I think they end up either beating him or killing him or something like that, and then they kind of go on the run.
Yeah.
So he's a real asshole cop, and they end up shooting him and killing him, and having to go on the run, becoming almost celebrity criminals in the process.
How'd that one turn out?
It was good. It was amazingly well made. It reminded me almost of a Steve McQueen film, which is a pretty high compliment from me. I think it maybe
New Steve McQueen or old Steve
Yeah.
McQueen?
Definitely new Steve McQueen. The only Steve McQueen you will ever hear me reference on this show. Sorry, any fans of the actual
Do you
guy.
know like the old
I haven't
Steve
seen a
McQueen?
single film from him.
You've never seen The Great Escape?
Part of the car chase from Bullet. That's it.
What, The Great Escape?
Nope. So yes, this is really cool. I think it might have been a little overlong, maybe a little bloated, but really beautifully made, very handsome film, and a really kind of emotional movie as well. So I recommend that as well. Kind of a soft recommend.
Can I just say something to Connor's point about me glazing over with trailers? In Bloodshot, there's something like there's a lot of stuff that's revealed in the trailer that I totally forgot about.
That's awesome.
And then in the movie it happens, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That's exactly what happened because I've seen the trailer.
That is a great way to watch that movie.
Yeah.
Next, I saw Takashi Miike's new film First Love. Another trailer we looked at. Sorry, George, I'm talking to Connor now. This basically looked like Japanese Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and my God, it fucking was, and it was brilliant.
Really?
I really, really, really enjoyed this film. It was hilarious and gruesome and dramatic and thrilling. Just a wonderful film. Takashi Miike, I only looked this up after watching it. He's made 103 films.
Wow.
Which is
Shut up.
fucked
prolific.
up. Yeah.
Has he really?
I've seen one of them before this one, so I'm up to 2 out of 103 now.
2%.
So yeah, I guess I'm no expert, but this is as good a place to start as any, I think. And I also had the absolute pleasure of seeing A Clockwork Orange on 35mm film,
Oofed.
which I had not watched in a good few years. And I realized while watching it, only really remembered as a series of moments and scenes and imagery, and seeing it all kind of play out on the big screen for the first time was a wonderful experience. And it's great to cross off another Kubrick for the big screen.
It has been a long time since I've watched that film, and I think that at least the first time, or probably the last time I watched it, I was probably too young to really appreciate what was going on. And I find that to be such a shame. And I don't know how you'd fix it. You kind of want to expose younger people to great cinema, but at the same time, I feel like you run the risk of alienating them from great cinema because things like that are either confusing or the pacing isn't right, and kids can really easily get bored or shit like that. So
just to clarify, don't show A Clockwork Orange to any kids, please.
yeah, no, I mean that's a very good point. And I was probably mid-teens or late teens when I watched Clockwork Orange, but even then, you don't really appreciate the kind of what's really going on in that.
No, how can you? That's why
you get really excited when they show like fast-forwarded sex scenes, and you're like, "That was awesome." Fast-forwarded tits, great.
Who's speeding it up?
Yeah.
I just remember how dark, how like nihilistic that film felt to me the first time I saw it. Really
Mid-teens philosopher George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrote in my journal that
Yeah.
Dear diary, I just can't today.
Yeah. Dear diary, mood, apathetic.
And yeah, that's enough for me. I probably watched a bunch of stuff on TV, but
wow.
yeah, good
Was
week.
that 5?
That was 5. Yeah.
Oh,
Probably.
Really, really good week.
fantastic. Last week ever at the cinema, Connor.
Yeah. I did a lot of like tying up loose ends.
Except the review we meant to do this week.
Yeah, except for the review. That I was meant to watch Bloodshot, and it fucking just right over my head.
How could you forget about Vin Diesel's Bloodshot?
I just assumed the cinemas didn't show anything anymore. I was just like, fuck it.
Next, you're going to tell us you didn't even realize there was a new Morbius trailer this week.
That one was not on
You
me.
got to get on the ball, mate.
There's a lot of people now just like typing. What?
There's no new Morbius trailer. Sorry to disappoint.
So I finished Rami, which is that A24 Stan series. Basically, so last week I said that I had gotten most of the way through Rami and Castlevania, and then I would report if anything happened in the last couple episodes that was noteworthy, and nothing really happened noteworthy in Castlevania. But Rami, that series got real fucking weird real quick. And it was one of those things where you're kind of like, there's a lot I really loved about the last couple episodes, but it was getting into that cringeworthy territory where I don't like that kind of comedy where you can see that the person's making the wrong choice or the embarrassing choice, and you're just kind of sitting and be like, don't do it, it's weird, don't. And so yeah, I'm not saying like I'm disappointed with the ending, but it seemed to me to take a very weird kind of left turn last 3 episodes, I'd say. Still very beautiful in parts, still very funny in other parts, very if you're of Middle Eastern descent, probably very relevant. So I've been told.
As we all are, of course.
As we all are, yeah. They're around.
Really resonated with me.
Yeah. I get a very little, like a small amount of exposure to that, and what I've been exposed to seems to ring true for this one. I was just like, oh, it's that's actually not just a family thing.
If
that's
the shoe
like
fits.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, that's like
that's a
everyone. Okay, I gotcha. All right, I see now.
Yeah.
So I finished that off. I also started. I also finished off Fallen Order, which is not a movie, but it is a Star Wars game.
You've been chipping away at that one for a while.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, just kind of playing here and there, and I finally kind of finished off the campaign.
I wouldn't be able to maintain my skill level in that game for that long, I think.
Oh my God, right?
It's a hard game.
It is genuinely difficult.
So I marathoned it, and I got really stuck towards the end.
Yeah, and there was a couple of things that happened towards the end where I was like, oh my God, if I had known that, this would have been so much easier. Like, it, for anyone that's played it, there's a bunch of like health things that you can get if you explore the maps. But if you just try and go through, then you end up fighting these like bosses with like 2 health things, little canisters, and it's like fucking impossible. And then you get to the end, like, and you explore a little bit more, and you're like, I could have had these fucking like 12 more health canisters. God damn.
Here we go, guys. PSA: use health in a video game. Novel ideas.
But
we're a gamer podcast now.
so far as it is actually relevant to what we talk about, in terms of like, I guess, Star Wars lore and adding a chapter into the Star Wars saga, I'm not a huge fan of, exploring the current timeline, like the Skywalker saga. Although I do make I'm about to make an exception.
We've heard it before.
Let's just keep it, just cool your pants for 2 seconds. However, exploring that in different mediums, cool your pants. Chill your farm, cool your beans.
Chill my farm. We're moving to Alaska.
As far as like kind of exploring those little gaps in other mediums, so like comics, novels, or games, I'm actually not that opposed to it. And this is a perfect example of why, which, it doesn't really affect the movies. You don't have to play this. It doesn't, give you insight into things, that make more sense for the movie, but it does create a sense that this world is a little bit more lived in. And where they did touch on existing characters, it ranged from, sort of awkward to downright cool, which I really appreciated. I thought that was very interesting. So
one of my most surreal video game experiences is just like playing a Star Wars game and suddenly Forrest Whitaker shows up. It's like, hang on.
Yeah, that one. That's probably the one that I was thinking was a little bit more awkward.
I didn't dislike it. It was just like,
yeah.
It's just very different to like the PlayStation 1 days. You weren't playing Spyro the Dragon and then suddenly fucking Al Pacino walks in.
That's actually how we got to start, funnily enough.
I really wish I could play that game. Alas, I only play Nintendo.
Yeah.
Till the day I
Because you're the
the
cool
law.
kid.
He has a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox, but he refuses.
Just very quickly, 2 other things. I started Undone. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I think 1-2 episodes in, and
what's Undone?
I am so. We did watch the trailer for that.
Rosa Salazar, rotoscoped.
Rotoscope.
Oh yes,
Amazon Prime series.
Yes.
This is really spectacular.
Isn't it amazing?
I'm so much in love with this series, and I love how. And you mentioned this, Ben. The first episode doesn't even really delve into the whole
sci-fi, no fantastical sci-fi stuff, and it's great already.
Yeah,
right.
No, it's really fantastic, and it kind of delves into the narrative of someone that believes that they're broken and kind of self-sabotaging and all that. So it's
Thanks
really
for that
cool.
recommendation, Connor.
Mate, anytime. Give it 6 months and he's going to come to us. Guys, I found this great series. It's called Undone. Done in Rotoscope. And finally, I came across this kind of phenomena, which was that there were a bunch of my Australian friends that not only didn't know about, but also had never watched Willow, which to me is mind-bending because both of you?
Please tell me you're not recommending Willow to people.
Why?
Because it's like in that like Goonies never-ending story, I grew up with this. You have to see it. How haven't you seen this? And people sit down and be like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
No, you're probably not wrong about that.
I'm going to have to watch it now. I'll let you know.
Well, I mean, I know. Sorry, watching it was... Yeah, actually, the more I think about it, don't watch it. No, for me, that is such an iconic piece of my childhood.
So is Ridley Scott, Val Kilmer?
No. Oh shit! You've.
Oh, I'm thinking of Legend.
Yeah, it is Val Kilmer.
Mardigan.
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard. Thank you. Ron Howard. Val Kilmer.
That's right. This is
George
Lucasfilm
Lucas.
because they're bringing out the TV series, right?
Are they really?
Yeah, they're bringing out a Willow TV series or a Willow
I was literally
movie.
about... all right, that kind of speaks to what I wanted to talk about after this. But this is a movie that is I was trying to think about movies that should be remade and kind of reworked, and this is one of the ones that I felt should never be touched because it is such a piece of its time. It is stupid but genuine at the same time, and it kind of makes me fall in love with it all over again. The movie is genuinely funny, both in in the sense that it tried to be funny and it succeeded. Also in areas where it is, I don't think it tried to be funny, but is downright hilarious. The whole there's some plot points in this, particularly around the romance with Val Kilmer. That is probably the most contrived and ridiculous, set of events ever to grace a screen. Probably not ever, but like it's up there. Basically, like he reads poetry, and the woman just like falls in love with him. And I'm like, oh, cool. We're just ignoring character development. But yeah, just I kind of want to recommend it to people just to see what people think of it coming out of it. I guess
I'd like to give it a go, not in like a spiteful way. So
yeah,
come in and be like,
how's it
you
compared
idiot.
to Princess Bride?
I would say somewhat similar.
I was thinking that.
Princess Bride is one that I grew up with, so I'm not able to really look at it from the point of view of someone that didn't grow up with it.
Because I didn't grow up with that, and I thought it was fucking amazing. But I was also kind of vicariously experiencing it through Ash, my wife, who was watching it for the first time on the big screen. So there's definitely a little bit of that she loves it. Oh, yeah,
I also think
love
that
it
Princess
a bit more.
Bride is a bit more of
It's
a
Canadian,
timeless.
I know.
No, I was going to say it's more of it's a tighter film, right? There's less about it that I would be able to pick apart.
I didn't grow up with it, and I did not like it very much when I saw it.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like
It's pretty endearing.
the movie kind of is self-aware enough that any of those moments that seem kind of schlocky are meant to be like that.
It's clever. It's definitely clever.
Whereas this one, I don't think that as many moments that end up being kind of like, ooh, were meant to be like that.
One of our earliest questions of the week on this show was who would win in a fight between, I believe, Aragorn and Mad Mardigan, and I don't think any of us could answer it at the time. Do you have an answer for us now?
It's a great throwback.
Yeah, wow. I did not. No, I don't have an
From
answer
the
for that.
vault.
Aragorn's special skills include kicking helmets.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like nothing. Like, God, if I had to. It really depends on what the metrics that you're running with. Like, if someone says he's the greatest swordsman alive, am I taking that on like what he's meant to be in this world, or like if I looked at him swinging around a sword, being like, oh, he's bad at this, and then like look at someone who obviously went through a lot more stunt work and like be like Aragorn or Viggo Mortensen and be like, oh, he's like good at this, but no one ever looked at Oregon looked at Aragorn.
Mad Mardigan versus Oregon. State of Oregon.
The entire state of Oregon.
It's a legal case.
No one looked at Aragorn and like gave him the moniker of like, oh, the greatest swordsman
So
in
who'd win?
Middle-earth. I don't know, man.
Who would win?
Come on,
say
dude.
it.
I can't. Well, give me the parameter. That's what I'm asking. Like,
Two dudes in a
if
pit.
Val Kilmer went up against Viggo Mortensen
With
as
a
their
sword.
characters,
No.
oh, Viggo Mortensen would fuck him up.
There we
No,
go.
Mad Mardigan versus Aragorn.
You son of a bitch! You're really gonna make me answer this?
Answer it.
I mean, it has to be.
Answer it.
It has to be Mad Mardigan simply because
Okay.
his character is like the greatest swordsman.
There we go.
Around.
We've answered
Perfect.
one of the age-old questions of the podcast.
I think. I don't know.
Perfect. All right, is that it for you?
Sure. Why not?
All right, well, we have got a lot to get through, so bear with me while I kind of roll out the news that just poured out day after day this week.
Yeah, so you're going to lay it out top to bottom, and then we're just going to kind of talk it out.
Discuss it. Yeah, so obviously last week we heard about James Bond getting thrown back, and we kind of speculated where the industry was going to go from here. And so we've heard that production has been shut down on The Batman, Jurassic World 3, Shang Chi, The Little Mermaid, and every live-action Netflix TV show and movie. New Mutants, Mulan, Fast and Furious 9, A Quiet Place Part 2, and a whole bunch of others have been removed from international release schedules entirely. I think James Bond was the only one that got an actual delayed date. Everything else is just we don't know at this point. America has had the worst weekend box office totals in just over 20 years, I think, which is unsurprising but really horrible to hear. And Disney is releasing The Rise of Skywalker and Frozen 2 to Disney Plus 3 days and 3 months early, respectively, while Universal is to release several current theatrical titles to streaming this month, including The Invisible Man, Trolls 2, Emma, and The Hunt. Regarding that, I've just got the Universal CEO Jeff Shell here saying, rather than delaying these films or releasing them into a challenged distribution landscape, we wanted to provide an option for people to view these titles in the home. We hope and believe that people will still go to the movies in theaters where available, but we understand that for people in different areas of the world, that is increasingly becoming less possible. So Hollywood has been shut down at this point.
And
Well,
just quickly,
It's been great.
And just quickly, Jake Travakis and NickBD, you guys sent us 2 questions around coronavirus that we think we thank you for those questions, but we think we're going to answer them within this whole discussion.
We've dedicated a whole episode to your questions. You've won the prize.
There you go. You won the cake.
So where do you want to start?
Let's start at the beginning. With the beginning with our stories, which was that production has shut down the Batman, Jurassic World, like all the productions that are being shot now are shutting down.
So this is just precautionary stuff. This is happening in every industry in the world, pretty much. People working from home where possible. This is probably the least of this news. There's no word on whether these movies will still meet their release dates or not. I suspect a lot of them will. Some of them just seem to be down for a couple of weeks. In the case of Shang Chi, the director is actually in self-isolation, Daniel Destin Cretton. I don't think he's got it necessarily, but he has a young child, so that's just it's precautions.
It's we can assure everyone that the Hollywood elite are not immune, because both Tom Hanks and Idris Elba, as far as I'm aware,
and Tom Hanks' wife, Rita Wilson.
Yeah.
Also, I only just found out this week that Tom Hanks is married to Wilson. How amazing is that?
I didn't piece that together. Fucking well done. So yeah, I think that this is actually probably the ideal time to have this kind of. If you have the option of delaying a release date versus delaying a production, I can't help but feel that it's going to cost you less money to delay production.
So we're not the experts on this necessarily, but Shang-Chi apparently $300,000 per day while this is delayed.
Son of a bitch.
Now, No Time to Die, we said last week, it was a $30 million loss on the delay for release. So this is just really bad all round for these movies.
Yeah, no kidding.
But overall,
$300,000, that's intense.
This is affecting Netflix the least out of anyone here, purely because of the distribution channel is disrupted and maybe even amplified due to the fact that everyone's going to be at home.
They're going to be doing well, yeah.
It's better on 2 fronts. One, you'll probably have more people using Netflix, but also 2, you're going to have, and this kind of touches on a story that we'll come to a little bit later, but you're going to have distributors or production companies looking to streaming services to purchase their material so that they can get it off or get it out via a different platform. So I reckon that, Paramount has a strategy where, they're looking to Netflix to take any number of their films off their hands. Like that's, I watched the studio roundtable that they had, that they put out like 2 weeks ago. And the Paramount guy was basically like being like, Netflix, hopefully we could just keep selling shit to you for the rest of our lives. Like he was sitting pretty. Everyone else was going to go, Netflix, and he's like, "Fuck you guys." I'm getting on the train. So I think that Netflix will benefit from this, and that they will get probably some decent properties. We talked about Universal releasing a lot of these properties early. I imagine that they'll be doing deals with Netflix to do that.
So they'll be recouping some of their losses,
yeah,
at least. But I was reading some speculation today, which, this could be the wildest thing in the world, but apparently an industry analyst has said that Apple could potentially look to absorb Disney in this because of how this has really fucked up their stocks.
So there's something very interesting about Apple, which is that they have
cash.
An absolute absurd amount of cash,
like liquid cash.
Yeah, like this is the kind of thing. They closed down all the retail stores, right? Which is actually
for 2
fucking
weeks,
ridiculous. if you think about the cost incurred on that. And they've got a lot of online sales. They've got other channels, but still, that's a big chunk of money. And I think they're, I don't want to misquote anyone, but I'm pretty sure they're paying their employees for that time.
Yeah.
I think that's good on Apple.
That's a really good point, because like if you look at like a company like this, or any company valuation, 500 million, let's say, that's 500 million in value of assets. And what do those assets often comprise of? It's often liquid cash is a very, very small percentage of it.
Shares, it's debt, it's like all these kind of things that, as long as the economy is going well.
And then Apple, they're like an absolutely, they've got a whole different strategy.
I think it was 2017, because I was talking about this the other day, and I found a stat. Don't quote me too heavily on this, but it was roughly, a couple of years ago, it was roughly around $250 billion in cash.
Right.
Which
that's unheard of.
It's like, it's so absurd it hurts, and I keep thinking that I'm misquoting that, and maybe I am, but like, even if you take off a zero off that, 25 billion is still fucking absurd.
Well, supposedly, according to this analyst, and I don't necessarily even understand this, but he said that Disney's market cap has dropped by 85 billion in the past month or something.
That would make sense.
Which is, fucking insane.
Because their market cap would largely be comprised of their share price. And I mean, the Dow Jones went down like 12% like yesterday, I think. It was one of the largest drops they've had in almost 100 years.
Got to say, Bob Iger fucking chose an amazing time.
I was thinking that, right?
Because I'm peacing out.
What did he know that we didn't?
Yeah.
What's the other guy's name? Bob something?
He's known how to do it since day one.
Bob Hackett? No. What's the guy that stepped up? The other Bob.
Oh, yeah. Bob 2.
Bob number 2. Wasn't he previously in charge of Parks, yeah, and the park is closed.
So I guess he's jumping ship at the right time as well.
He's also jumped ship. He's like, I fucking leave you guys for 2 minutes and it's already closed.
Yeah, slightly off topic, but Disneyland closed for the 4th time in history.
Yeah, that's
nuts.
Which is silly. So yeah, look, if there's anyone, I reckon give it 6 months and Apple's going to be just going, tasty, and they're going to start picking off things for acquisition, because they can do that, right? They can probably cover their own losses in cash alone, and then some to go and to go acquire other companies. It's kind of silly.
I feel like at this point the only really major blockbuster coming up that we haven't heard any movement on is Black Widow.
They're sticking strong.
Because I said last week when Bond got moved, I was surprised it wasn't Widow and F9, because they seem like more likely for that. But F9 did eventually move, despite Vin Diesel's saying it wouldn't. But Black Widow supposedly, what do you think is going to happen with it?
Bob Iger is going to purchase, or Bob 2 actually is going to purchase every second seat in the theater to give them some social distancing, and they're going to go ahead.
I had a whole theory on this that, they might even, this could be a whole paradigm shift. This coronavirus could really wipe out and change the cinema industry
it
forever. And there could be a lot of casualties along the way. And, could this be, quick thinking on Disney's behalf, pivoting and saying, we're going to release Black Widow on Disney Plus.
I think
and try and drive a bunch of subscribers to that and really get the value proposition to a much better place. Because I'm out of Disney Plus right now.
I'll be jumping back on
but
if that's the case. 100%.
If Black Widow's there, boom, I'm on that shit.
Yeah. So
and at the cost of a ticket, if you think about it, they could be raking in just subscribers alone.
And and like a family, for example, two 12-year-old kids, mum and dad going to the cinema. That's $150. Oh, we just got to get Black Widow at home. Oh, we're just going to sign up to Disney Plus, $8.99. We've got popcorn from the fucking ration center that's going to be set up in a couple of weeks. Sorry, bad joke. But
I think this is it for theaters. Not necessarily entirely. I think a lot of chains will survive, but I think so many independents are going to go under from this, and they're not going to be able to stand back up. With Universal having pulled the trigger on releasing current films straight to streaming, which I mentioned they're doing with stuff like Invisible Man, apparently at a $20 price tag, which, like you said, compared to a ticket is a bit much. Compared to 4 tickets, because you can watch it at home with a bunch of people, is nothing.
Yep.
I
What are
they've-
they releasing it on again? Sorry.
I don't know what they're
On-
releasing it on.
It'll be on iTunes, so it'll be on the
No.
iTunes store.
Yeah. So I think I absolutely think Black Widow is going to probably release definitely on streaming. I think it might be like a co-release with cinemas as well for people who want
Yep.
to do that. But I guess the only question is, do you think they're going to slap a price tag on it? Do you think they're going to release it just to Disney Plus? Because I think they're going to play this for as much money as they can. Since Universal is going this route, I think a lot of people are going to go this route, but they're charging a lot for it. So I can't see them doing it for free.
The short-term
Free.
play would be to put it onto iTunes and whatnot and try and rake in as much cash as possible. The long-term play would be driving as many subscribers to Disney Plus. And as I said, get that value proposition to a way better spot, because I didn't think I was going to cancel Disney Plus, and I did. And I'm waiting until the next Marvel TV show turns up. And when is that? I don't fucking know. October or some shit.
Delayed, apparently.
Yeah,
So Falcon and the Winter Soldier got
So
pushed
then
back.
the next thing is what, Mandalorian in October?
Maybe.
You know,
Yeah,
so,
I have so.
I guess they
little-
wrapped on that.
so
didn't
that they could get me for maybe another 6 months if they bring Black Widow out
I mean,
early.
maybe. I mean, right now the problem with Disney Plus, this is Corona aside, is that they'll draw you in with one property, right? Like a movie or something like that.
They
And
don't have
then-
the
and then
rolling
that's
door,
it.
don't they?
And
That's
then-
what Netflix has. It's just like jab, jab, jab. They've just like, there's more content.
Well, particularly, so
down the
Netflix was really
pipeline.
fortunate because when it had it, like when it was originally releasing all its, self-produced content, it was also the novelty of that platform that was keeping people on it, right? Hey, you can watch series that you don't have to watch ads for. Like, I mean, if you think about why people originally subscribed to Netflix, it was not because of the content that they had on that platform. It was because of the platform. No one else was really doing streaming, certainly not in a way that, not in the kind of way that Netflix was. And so when they were just releasing, House of Cards, they could keep you on because the platform. Whereas now, everyone has that kind of platform, and what's keeping you there is the content and maybe how the platform works. Like if there's a shitty UI for the platform, I'm pretty hesitant to.
You'll
I hate
bail.
bad UI.
You and your UI.
Yeah, I know, right?
But
But
you bring it up every episode, don't you?
every episode that I can, because it's just flip and hate when they don't get it right.
Hurts my brain.
Got to get you a spin-off podcast to get out of your
Yeah.
system.
Yeah. So yeah, like
reviewing streaming UI.
That's niche enough to work, I reckon.
Yeah.
Nobody steal that idea. Bleep that.
Sure.
yeah. So I think Disney right now, I think on an elevator pitch, like if I were to tell you, hey, you can just watch all of Disney's catalog, that is enough to get you interested. But when you actually look at it in front of you, and it's not the entirety of Disney's catalog, and you're just kind of like, not really.
So that's why the situation could be really so good for Disney Plus, because if they're releasing day and date Mulan, Black Widow, whatever else they have onto that, New Mutants wouldn't be on there, but they could chuck that on Hulu. I don't know what they do over here. That would get people back in the door, and I think
Possibly, yeah.
Disney Plus has like a good month cooldown where you just leave it and don't
Yeah.
cancel it,
Yeah.
at least.
Because you want to
So
see
if they're
like,
releasing
yeah.
enough stuff, like Netflix has that constant flow, you can be like, oh, there's only a week until that next thing comes out. I'll just keep it.
Yeah.
I think what's so interesting about this coronavirus in the movie industry is that it's sort of happening at this convergence point where there's so many things geared in a way for this coronavirus to really wipe out our whole industry, unlike a lot of other verticals which will not go unscathed, but will, in the next 12 months probably recover to, and 24 months will recover to a decent spot. Let's say. But cinema industry, we've got already declining, numbers coming to the cinema. We've got increasing in streaming. We're in a society that's all about convenience. It's all about the latest tech. I mean, look what you just said, Connie. You said we've got this plethora of every Disney cartoon, some of the most amazing, films I've ever created. Because we're in a society of new shit. We want new shit all the time, and I just feel like, the cinema industry in particular is just like, it's kind of all geared to really fuck shit up. Like the fact that you've got to go physically to a place, to go experience it. That's a huge part of the mechanisms of how the cinema industry works. It's just that doesn't work forever.
See, I think this is a bit of a unique situation because, I mean, in a normal recession, let's say, it's more about, do you feel confident spending money? Particularly if, people might not know where the next paycheck. This is a bit of a unique situation, which is like you're actually betting with your health. Like, do I feel confident going out because, I'm going to get sick or I'm going to get coronavirus? So I think that the downturn we're going to see is a lot more noticeable in the short term. And then it kind of depends on what the market does after that. But I don't think that we'll lose the entire industry. I think that there's too much money to be made. And I still think that the cinemas are offering, or some of the cinemas are offering enough of an experience that it will warrant people kind of still heading to the movies. Like, I still enjoy going to the movies, not nearly as much as I did before. That might also be because I don't have as much time, but I like that cinemas are really kind of focusing more on the experience of going to a cinema.
I'd be really skeptical that once they really started pulling that thread of like new releases at home, that they could put that genie back in the bottle, to mix metaphors.
I think that a lot of studios will move to that. What I think we'll have a thinning out of the herd, and I think that you're going to get some production studios that have been around for a very long time. I think that they will get acquired, or that they will drastically change their their release strategy, stuff like that. But I think things like Disney. Disney still has a very strong focus on theatrical release. They are very much still feel that there is a market for that, and that is clearly shown by the fact that they raked in an enormous amount of money from that kind of distribution model last year.
Well, to tie this into other concerns that we talked about a little while ago, we were discussing the repealing of a law that didn't allow production companies and studios to buy cinemas. I think this could be the situation where someone like Disney swoops in and buys a bunch of failing cinemas, which will have no other option in this situation, which, as we discussed in that conversation, I think is kind of a terrifying thought for the industry. But there are going to be massive changes, I think.
But can you tell me, because you've changed your tune on that, so what cinema experience have you been to recently that was really great? Because you've always said cinemas need to increase the experience and make it better. So now you're saying, the cinemas all give a great experience. So
no. All right, sorry. Maybe I should clarify. I'm not saying that
that's what you just said, though.
No, I'm not saying. I never said that all cinemas give a great experience. I'm saying I'm seeing cinemas give a better experience.
So
that's not all cinemas.
Where are you seeing that?
I mean, I've gone to our local cinema, and there's clearly a larger focus on bringing in kind of one-time event, or like bringing in old film movies and like having repeats of existing movies. It's not just about.
Isn't that programming though? Is that experience or programming?
But I mean, that's part of it, right? Like, I mean, if your idea of a cinema is just, hey, here's all the new releases, and you kind of put that forward, then that's like, all right, well, I can get the new releases on, I can get the new releases on my Netflix account at home. But if you're putting it out there, hey, we've got this film that's shot on film, is being shown from a projection, it is an experience that you will not get at home.
Totally.
Then
But
that's where
Popcorn Taxi been doing that for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I feel as though has merit. And I think that there are certain cinemas that are leaning into that. I mean, there's a cinema up kind of north, I can't remember what the name of it is, near North Sydney, that does The Room showings every month.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that I think that might help these cinemas kind of survive in an age where they're streaming.
I completely agree with you.
I honestly, I don't think that all the cinemas will survive this. In fact, I'd say that probably a good chunk of them won't.
So I think we all agree about that.
Yeah, we're all on exactly the same page.
Yeah.
That's nice to hear.
The way that this is going to change the landscape is going to be massive.
I think there's a shift in so many other areas, not only just movies, but in terms of the way we are as a society and the way we treat healthcare and
and working from home, everyone's going to be like, this is pretty good. I'm not going back in.
Yeah, peace out. And the company's going to be like, hey, listen, I'm glad to not be paying the overheads on the office, and hey, if productivity stays
I think
at
you'd
the
be
same
surprised
level.
because there's a lot of companies out there that have the capability of having people work from home very easily, but don't do it. And there's a number of reasons why companies don't. One is productivity, obviously. Other ones is that it's pretty expensive for companies to do that because, you talk about not having the overheads, but they then have to think about, for example, liability of people working at home. And if you go and trip while you're making yourself a sandwich, that could be considered a workplace incident.
Right. I don't know.
So
anything
I
about
can't make a joke around you without you spinning it off into a serious discussion about something. Can I?
Yeah, sorry, man. No, I was literally talking to someone about it the other day.
Spitballing about insurance and stuff.
Yeah. The liability, Ben. It's insane. What are you talking about?
Are you guys across this? It's like, no, I'm not. Fuck.
Sign these papers right now.
I'm not.
But I also think another angle to it is just like being in a team, seeing each other day to day, being able to tap somebody on the shoulder and have a chat to them. I work remotely with a lot of different teams across the world, and there's just such a difference between. It's really hard to really describe, but
it has nothing to do with movies.
No, it has nothing to do with movies. It has nothing to do with insurance either.
Exactly.
Your favorite topic. Connor's insurance podcast.
Liability for workers'
Guys,
comp.
Guys, we got within a month. We got within a month of the theatrical release of the New Mutants.
I know.
Delayed for 2 full years.
So goddamn
we got within a
close.
month of it. Now it's gone indefinitely.
Just fucking, give that
Just
thing a break, man. Like, just let
Send
it
a
loose.
DVD copy to everyone on Earth.
Who's that with? Is that with Disney? Come on, put that on.
Yeah,
put
Fox.
that on Disney Plus.
It's
immediately.
It's PG-13. They won't do it. But Hulu, I was saying, I think they would.
What do you mean they won't do it?
They won't put it on Disney Plus. It's PG-13. It's too mature.
Is that a thing?
They have a very specific way of delineating between what
Right.
goes on their really family-friendly platform and what goes
That
to Hulu.
sucks.
And also, I don't think they would necessarily muddy the Disney waters with a Fox property like that.
That's wild when you think about it.
Except, they've got Simpsons and stuff on there,
makes
but
me
that's a
sad.
special case.
God, you know what? That probably explains why I have little to no interest of keeping my Disney Plus
Yeah.
subscription.
Because you're an adult.
When you
more I
think of
think
the
about it.
demo and the way they're positioning it.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix, you can have, there's like a Netflix dedicated kids, and there's like, you can have everything from kid-friendly TV shows right up to fucking, the Punisher, the Marvel Punisher series, which is not PG-13. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's wild.
I really want to see that film.
You're so goddamn close. Just release it on Netflix. Or something. Like, at this point, surely they are losing more money than they will ever recuperate by, delaying it anymore. They can't.
It's just sitting in a vault at this point. I don't think it's costed. They don't advertise it. They're not doing anything else.
Well, then
It's
what's the if they're not going to advertise it, if they're not going to put in the money to do that,
What's
then
the point?
what is the point? Just release it on streaming for fuck's sake.
Just release it in theaters right now.
Yeah,
Test
it'd
the
be so
waters.
Cool. Just get it out
Give
there.
us something to
Get
see.
it out there, man. Come
I mean,
on.
what cinema is going to buy that though? Because it costs cinemas money to
Everywhere's showing Bloodshot right now.
yeah.
Unfortunately. Sorry, spoilers.
So yeah, Bloodshot made like 10 million in the US
It's
over the
all-
weekend, which is the best. It was number 1, I think. But that's just how bad there was. Like America had 50 million in total
So worst since 1990?
since 2000,
Oh, 2000. Sorry.
September 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I
don't know
mean,
why that would be.
like that's what I mean. It's like there's all these things. Like maybe if Universal chose to not release Invisible Man, etc., on, go direct to consumer online and bypass the theaters, maybe I'd be looking at this in a different way. But there's all these things just adding up, including nobody wants to be around anyone. Nobody wants them coughing in their face in a cinema.
I didn't actually measure out how far away I am from you, which that's not very socially responsible of me.
Yeah.
We are
This was
recording from a
social
big plastic
distancing.
bubble at the moment, though.
Yeah.
We are
long as-
quarantined together.
It's going to be a long 14 days.
we will live stream this.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like a chain reaction.
The Hunt also is a funny situation from Universal because that
Yeah.
obviously got delayed by like 6 months because of the controversy surrounding this film because Donald Trump had a go at it on Twitter. I bet they wish they released it when they had the chance.
Yeah, I think so.
Bloody Invisible Man, though, they got in just in time. That's up to like
right?
120 million globally, which
And this will be
Good
perfect,
size.
right?
For that
Like
film.
just keep the
yeah, because
train
now
rolling.
there's enough good word of mouth and people can watch it at home.
I almost want to pick it up and watch it again.
Yeah, so do you guys see yourself picking up any of these films for like 20 USD?
Trolls 2.
That
20
obviously.
USD, boom.
So maybe not these specific films, but this release method. Do you see
100%,
yourself?
dude. Like part of the
like
problem
30
that I
bucks
have
Australian?
is going actually out of the door and
Yeah.
watching in the cinema.
Yeah.
You know,
If
I
I'm
I actually really like watching shit on my laptop in bed.
Wow.
And I've had some of my favorite movie experiences in that scenario. So
Presumably, though, if you're paying
movie?
$30, you'd
'cause
want to
I'm
get.
naked, all right?
You'd want a few more people with you. Is this how your viewing parties are going to be? Just
Yeah,
in bed with your laptop, us all huddled
Everyone
around.
comes in, we check them off, derobe them, and
Can't believe I paid
stuff them
$5 for
into a
this.
room.
I'm a bit weird with that. Like, if I'm going to pay $30 for a movie, it has to be pretty fucking spectacular, or something that I know that I'm going to rewatch, or that I have some kind of.
These
like,
are rentals.
$30 for a rental.
So this is 20 USD for a rental. So you wouldn't
I
have
shan't be
people
doing
over
that.
to watch a new
20
movie that you can't catch in theaters?
$20 for a rental.
I mean,
48 hours, yeah. So yeah, say Black Widow, something we're thoroughly more interested in. Say this
maybe Black
takes-
Widow.
this
Okay,
tack.
so and then once it sort of does the 3-month cycle, then it would drop to the $5 or $7 rental price.
Eventually, it
point.
would be on Disney Plus if we're talking about Black Widow, obviously.
Yeah, but we're talking about the other one.
I'm saying specifically Black Widow. I'm
Black
saying
Widow.
if we're talking about Black Widow, because I think movies are going to start going this way, take away the fact we run a podcast and have to see these things.
$30 would be a bit steep for me, if I'm to be honest. I just,
Because I would definitely do this if there wasn't the cinema option. This wouldn't be my preferred option, but I'd absolutely go,
But that's
hey,
the thing, right?
hey, you, come over. I know you're interested in doing this. We'll each pay.
Yeah, I'd be stoked to do that. And then would you be able to buy it as well and watch it on repeat, or you only
no,
rent
it's
it?
$30
It
for
says
a
rental.
48.
It's only a rental. Interesting. Very
48 hour.
interesting. Yeah, I reckon because I don't really like owning.
Oh yeah, I
things
don't
that
give a shit about owning digital
yeah, so
stuff.
Boom.
But it's more about like if I'm going to pay $30. And I mean, I know that's a bit of a weird like sticking point for me, but
You
for
would be
me-
hard pressed to find one of these films though that wouldn't be on streaming by the time it comes to release though.
And how much would it cost you to see it at the cinema? $22.
or let's say it's $22, but then I'm also paying for a screen that's about 100 times larger than the one that I have at home. Better sound. I quite enjoy being in that environment.
So you're thoroughly in the camp of preferring the cinema experience.
I mean, if I'm going to,
You're such a contrarian, man.
I
How's that
was just trying to
contrarian?
clarify your point. Where are you going?
I mean, we have the guy. We have the guy here that
devil's
loves.
advocate.
No, it's about all right. If you're going to give me a $30 price point,
Because I'm saying
if we're talking about being at home, being all about convenience, I've got so much good content that I don't need to pay $30 for. I find it really difficult to justify spending that kind of money to watch something at home, whatever it is. Right? There are a couple of movies, and they're usually movies, ironically, that I've already seen and that I know that I love and that I think I can justify to myself to own, that I will pay that kind of money for. But I mean, nothing shat me more than paying $25 for Foxtel. Fuck that noise. And if I didn't have to, if I hadn't had to have watched Watchmen for the podcast, there's no way I would have ever paid that price tag.
So you're not even entertaining the idea of bringing people over and splitting the fee.
Yeah, look, if we got together and we spent $30 for something like like a Marvel property, yeah. That's definitely something that I would be more keen on doing.
You get 6 people though, it's $5 each.
Exactly. But
Which
that's,
is less
again,
than like a YouTube
at
rental.
that point, I'm now like paying for the experience of having friends over, watching a movie together, being able to chat, after, which is sort of more commensurate with the cinema experience, so to speak. And I'm just paying a cheaper, fee to do it. But if I'm talking about like sitting at home and I can either jump onto my Netflix account or I can pay $30 to watch, Black Widow, a couple months early. $30. I'm just specifically for that price tag. It doesn't really. do much to convince me.
Right, so yeah, it would take a hell of a film to
A hell of a film, and I would probably have to watch it with other people.
Speaking of a hell of a film, imagine if all of this shit happened last year with the year Hollywood had.
God,
Like if
man.
Endgame got embroiled in this stuff.
Oof.
Do you reckon Feige's just sitting there being like, holy shit,
Just
thank
like,
God it's beginning of phase 4
everything's
that this has
okay.
really kicked off.
Mm.
Thank you, Thanos.
Yeah,
Okay.
and, well, just to cycle back, I think that's another reason that they're definitely going to stream Black Widow because they can only push it so far before they're cutting into their other Marvel movies, which, you know,
Exactly,
the MCU
right?
is like episodes of television. They can't, they push one thing back, everything's got to
And I
go
reckon
back.
that's why they've held out where they have so far, because they're obviously really strategic in the way that they kind of position their, you know, sometimes to their detriment, I think, but like obviously there is a plan that is in place in order to kind of make everything fit together, you know, fit well. And obviously when something like that gets disrupted, as we've seen with, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy getting pushed out, there seems to be some disconnect now with the new Thor film. And, you know, they're going to have to probably rewrite that and then like figure out how they're going to do, you know, the Guardians in a different time slot. Like it really fucks up their overall storytelling.
Mm.
I have a question for you guys. Out of the remainder of films that are to come out in 2020, how many of those films, percentage-wise, do you think are going to be disrupted? Do you think it's 20%? Do you think it's 50%? Do you think it's
75?
80%?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think, and then also on that, do you think what percentage of content that was supposed to come out this year, do you think is not going to come out this year? Do you think we're going to get half of it missing? Do you think, you know?
So I think that in turn, yeah, that's real tough.
F9, they specifically said they're pushing back by a year. They didn't give a release date, but they said they're pushing back by a year.
A
which
year?
Is
Oh,
huge.
wow. Fuck.
Yeah.
Um,
Like that changes the whole franchise.
Look, I say this with little to no actual medical knowledge or anything like that, but from what I've kind of, you know, been seeing experts saying is that the actual like danger of the virus is going to peak around what, like September-ish, maybe, probably a little bit earlier than that, in terms of the most people infected when it's, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then after that, it's less about the, you know, social distancing and the danger of the virus and more about the economic fallout. So I think that in terms of release dates, post that time, we're probably going to be more or less on track. I mean, there's probably even be a time before that where, you know, most people will have had it or have it or something like that. And then that kind of social distancing doesn't really matter anymore. Again, I say with zero medical knowledge or expertise in the area.
They're going to have to start running screenings for people who are all infected at the same time.
Yeah.
Come
like
on in.
chickenpox party or something like
Why
that.
doesn't
Hacking and coughing.
why don't we do a screening, you know, like Dawn of the Dead, Contagion.
Yeah.
28
Hell yeah.
days later. Sick.
So I think they're going to try and slide everything back into normality as fast as they can. That's why I think, you know, only one movie had really delayed last week, and then so many have fallen into line with that. I think now we've got a couple movies heading to streaming. I think next week, if we're talking about this still, which we will be, I think a lot more movies will be doing that, just to kind of keep these release dates, because franchises, these are all franchises, are also important to keep their dates to keep in line with the future plans. I really think they're going to try and make this as neat as possible, and if that means just streaming releases for the rest of this year, it could be it.
I honestly think this is going to be a huge paradigm shift. I think box office numbers are going to dwindle post all of this self-containment and isolation. Crazy times.
Crazy times.
Did we want to talk anything more about coronavirus? Because we've got a couple other quick headlines to touch upon.
I think we covered it. Coronavirus is done. We've
Forever.
We
We'll never
solved
mention
it.
it
all
again.
your information that you need is here.
Listening to this podcast is the only cure.
Oh,
Not a doctor.
Okay.
All right, so on to actual movie news. We actually got some movie news this week. Which,
wow.
and I got to say, I think it was fucking fantastic news. Karyn Kusama has signed on to direct Dracula for Universal. So obviously following the success of The Invisible Man, the runaway success, critically and commercially, Universal is following this system of getting a great company such as Blumhouse to pair with a fantastic creator such as Lee Winnell or Karyn Kusama to hopefully make a great film.
And Karyn Kusama did The Invitation, amongst other things. And you recommended The Invitation for the longest time. And it's just a fantastic film.
It's one of my favorites ever.
She fits the mold for Blumhouse perfectly, I feel. She does still have a commercial vibe to her films, but it has the indie art house stripped back kind of vibe. She's really fantastic. I need to check out some more of her stuff, but it's interesting. We talked about Invisible Man a bit earlier. Invisible Man again. I think they really have the formula sorted out on this. I cannot wait to see where this goes. But I'm sorry to bring back coronavirus into this, but I hope that a lot of these companies, A24, Blumhouse, they've got a certain way of doing things, and I hope that they can make sure that they can move to the streaming distribution models and still retain that level of quality, because there's going to be some hurdles there that they're going to have to figure out.
Yeah, they're an extremely successful and extremely well-known brand, but they are still a smaller production company, very much so.
With a formula. There's a way to release films and there's a way to do it. Obviously, there's going to be little creative decisions each time and the budgets are going to change and stuff, but there's a way to do things. And once that model is no longer applicable, well, things can change pretty fucking fast.
Well, I mean, look at Rami. That was a streaming service thing produced by A24. So I think that, they obviously know how to engage with the channel.
Yeah, cool.
I think, and then look, I would be really shocked. I'd be very surprised if most, if not all of those kind of production companies don't have at least, or have not looked at some form of streaming channel, whether it's, through a third party like Netflix or Hulu or Stan, or whether they're, looking to, do their own.
Yeah, it's where this has all been headed.
Yeah.
This is just kind of speeding up what
A24 already has a contract with Apple.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of safety, I'm pretty sure A24 is all right. But I do take your point about like the smaller production companies maybe that are maybe that don't have that kind of clout or whatever might struggle.
So Dracula is one of the very few novels I've actually read in my lifetime, and I have very fond memories of it. Do you guys give a shit at all about Dracula? First question, I guess.
Look,
quick yes or no?
Yeah,
I wish I did.
Yeah. Do you guys have any idea of where you would like to see this taken for this film? Because Invisible Man was obviously a huge reinvention, taking basically only the name from the original H.G. Wells story, and very little from the movies along the way. Would you like to see them do something more traditional, classic? Because I was saying this about, this may not have even been on the podcast, but I was talking about the Frankenstein movies and how there hasn't really been a super faithful, great adaptation of Frankenstein yet. So I would like to see that happen. And I think the same can kind of be said of Dracula. There was the Gary Oldman, Bram Stoker's Dracula. I think that was in the 90s. I don't know if you guys seen that one. That was kind of faithful, but it also had Keanu Reeves as Jonathan Harker, which sucked balls.
I think you need to make it of this era.
Mm-hmm.
So similarly to Invisible Man, I would change things up a lot. For the longest time, I was writing this vampire script, and it was a very like real take on vampirism. And, vampirism pre-Nosferatu and whatnot was much more like like 18th century vampirism was much more like zombies coming out of the grave. And I sort of took influence from that type of vampire with more of the traditional or the sort of the quote unquote typical vampire. I want to suck your blood, like that kind of stuff. Maybe not that cheesy. So I think like with her vision, Jason Blum and the team, like I feel like a bit more of a realistic take, mold it for 2020 because if it's a classic and I think it's got to feel now. I think it's got to feel current.
Yeah, I definitely have faith in them because The Invitation, seemingly very far removed from Dracula as it is, still has the vibe of, this kind of like classy, formal situation that something's not right about.
Grotesque.
With all these people, who you're not sure if they're actually fucking monsters or not, or what's going to happen, which I think you could play around with Dracula for.
That would be really cool.
I'm trying to think about what style I would like this in, and I'm not entirely sure. I think that I'm trying to think of all the different adaptations of vampires that I have enjoyed in the last few years. And
you're a big twihard, I remember.
Yep, that's me.
Team Jacob.
No,
That's
what
hot,
came to
man.
mind?
That's hot.
There was a couple of things that came to mind. One was the depiction in the Witcher game series, actually, which I thought had a really cool take on it. That there was like lesser and higher vampires, and that there was these kind of like actual monsters, and then there was these ones that were like superhuman and had really strict codes and are very ancient and are very kind of like the more typical, almost not just vampire that we would think about today. But I mentioned that I had also just recently watched Castlevania, and I really love the depiction in there. Somewhat similar. But I feel as though when it comes to Blumhouse, I don't want them to do what I want, or I don't want them to do, what is expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want them to have the creative license to do something interesting. And you know what? Maybe I'll dig it, maybe I won't. I don't want them to do something too realistic, because I feel like that might take some of the fun out of a vampire film. But then, like I just said, I want them to have that kind of creative license. So
Leave it in the faithful hands.
I'm very excited to have that kind of property tackled by them.
Yeah, why'd I even ask the dumb question like we're going to crack this? Leave it to the experts.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just in terms of like Blumhouse is obviously doing something right in the last couple of years. And they have consistently, provided me with top-notch shit. So who am I to kind of go and say like, oh, I need them to do this or that?
Kind of come storming into the set.
Yeah.
Like,
Motherfuckers.
I'm not having another bar of that, mate.
Hang on, I've just thought of $1 billion idea for him.
Oof.
Count Dracula, except modern day,
Okay.
Oh.
and he's like hunting Elizabeth Moss.
Oh,
And every movie,
I
every
see what
monster
you
movie
did
is just
there.
Elizabeth Moss versus a monster.
I see what you did there.
They've
Terrifying.
quite specifically said that they're not gonna have like a shared universe, that like
Thank bloody God.
they're again, that was from that producer roundtable, and they asked her like, oh, obviously your shared universe didn't work out too well, and she goes, well, yes, yeah, we had some issues.
Can I just
But
say, and I've actually mentioned this on the podcast before, I spent all day today playing the video game adaptation of the Tom Cruise Mummy movie.
Sorry, you've mentioned this before?
Yeah, the Mummy Demastered, it's called. It's by Way Forward, which is this amazing little indie video game company who make really cool kind of throwback Metroidvania games.
Okay.
And for some reason, I have no idea why, Universal Interactive obviously got them on board, a really great critically acclaimed company, to make this completely unmarketable game tie-in to this movie everyone hated. So they've put all this work into this fantastic game that just has this name that makes it Poison. And it's brilliant. It is so good.
For real?
Yeah.
Is it Metroidvania style?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's like Super Metroid. It's
That's
so
so
fucking
cool.
hard. It is fantastic. And it has this amazing,
That's perfect for you.
like 16-bit soundtrack.
How weird.
It is so good. I look up some footage of it. I know you're never going to play it, but
Is there
Yeah,
like was there
yeah,
any like
It's on
definitely won't
Switch.
play it.
is there any clear reason as to why they did that? Like, is there like a
Was it on
connection?
Steam?
Be like,
it's one of those things,
what year was the Mummy? Like, isn't that like
Was it
2017?
2017?
No, I mean, as in, like what year is it set?
It's a movie tie-in. It's the
Yeah.
it's
now,
It's
isn't it?
essentially the plot of the movie is happening, yeah, except you're playing a grunt for that company or the organization.
No, sorry, I
that
mean
Russell Crowe.
what's the tie into that style of game, right? Like, what's the? I was trying to think, like, if you're doing the 16-bit soundtrack, like I was trying to think about the movie, like, was it set in the 80s or something? Like, I'm just trying to figure that.
No, it's just like a 16-bit
just-
game. That's what Way Forward kind of makes.
Oh, that's spectacular! I kind of love it. It's completely random, makes no sense, but
Yeah.
I kind of love it.
Sorry to get so off topic, but just if you have any interest in Metroidvanias, that game is so fucking good. It's on Switch right now.
So on Switch. Okay, cool. On Steam?
He's definitely not going to do
Switch?
it.
On Switch.
Oh,
it's on the Switch.
on
Is it?
It's
yeah,
on
like
slot.
yeah. So I can get it if I were to go now. I
non-
could
Non-Bumbo.
Do I just create an account
I
and
just download it, right? Yeah, cool.
hit the download
Cool.
button?
Where do I put the money into the machine?
Cool.
Does it
cool,
take
cool,
cash?
cool, cool, cool.
All right.
Let's finish off on a dour note.
Okay. We have a trailer for Pixar's Soul. This is I think we had a teaser before this. This is a full trailer.
Here's my
Yep.
prediction. Connor's going to love this trailer.
Yep. Are we right or not?
I mean, love is very strong. I like the trailer. There are a couple of things like it looks a bit derivative of Inside Out,
Coco,
and Coco. Inside Out in the animation style, Coco in the
afterlife exploration
shtick thing. So that kind of weirds me out. I've always really liked Pixar for its original stories and its kind of unique takes on things, and this just it's derivative of its own original stuff, but still somewhat derivative.
It seems too much like a clear amalgamation of the two to me.
Yeah,
it seems unimpressive, and I think off your point, they're so great at the original concepts. Even Brave, as much as I'll give that movie shit, at least it feels different from everything else.
Yeah, because it feels worse than every other Pixar movie.
I don't know, there's orange bouncy hair. I don't know. It's something new. In this one,
George
what
loves
is
his wigs.
really new in this one? I was just so disengaged with this trailer.
I mean, look,
I'd say visually it's doing a lot different. It's a lot more stylized than I think any other Pixar film has been.
Yeah, well, that's probably true.
There's like a lot of interesting kind of 2D stuff happening.
Yep.
Because I was thinking
that was actually when I was enjoying that trailer the most, was when they were kind of
playing
around with the
textures.
form and stuff. Yeah,
because
thought that
I was thinking at the start of the trailer, in a post Spider-Verse world, I'm really getting sick of these huge, powerful animation companies not utilizing the form to its maximum capabilities. Like you can do literally anything with animation, and Pixar just insists on making more and more grotesquely realistic textures on really bizarre caricatured looking humans, which I'm kind of this was one of the first ones of theirs I've really been like, oh man, everything looks so realistic, but everyone looks like an absolute freak, like a cartoon character with real skin. It's like, ugh. But then it kind of went off to some more interesting areas, which is interesting.
The whole time I was watching it, I was like, this is really disengaging, but I think it's a challenge to put this film into a trailer. So I think the overall presentation in the film is going to be great. Sometimes I can't remember. Maybe there are some good Pixar trailers, but hard to sometimes distill a film down into a 1.5.
You haven't really liked a Pixar movie at all in the past while, eh?
25 years, man.
Yeah.
What was the last Pixar film that you really dug? That you were like, this is Pixar firing at what Pixar should be firing at?
Because I thought Inside Out was potentially their best. I thought it was a masterpiece.
I didn't love it. Could have even been Up, man. And I wonder if I
didn't love
rewatched Up, would I be that amped on it? I think Wall-E, that's probably my favorite. So maybe, what was that, 2006? It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Well, there we have it, folks. The coronavirus special edition.
It's got him.
All done.
What's that movie that he starts talking and then he goes real low? I think it's Shaun of the Dead, where he's just like, I couldn't possibly have it.
Yeah. Just quickly on Candyman. I know this is a tangent going back all the way to the beginning.
No, full circle.
How many fake jump scares were in that movie? I think there was more fake jump scares than jump scares.
So I've got a really interesting article I can send you. There is literally a jump scare in this film, the cheapest variety of a dog just like jumping up at a window, and it's like actually like just really intense and shocking. That's actually from the book. That is played out bit by bit from the book.
For real?
Yeah. Like apparently this is
is it as scary in the book? It's like, oh god, dog.
I don't read, so
like
I don't know.
They turn the page and it's a picture of a dog on a window.
It's a little sound chip that barks at you.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was interesting that it had kind of for a seemingly very kind of interesting and cerebral film. It was interesting that it had these cheap jump scares in it.
Yeah.
That are apparently quite faithful to the book.
Yeah, and the one where the guy just dives outside in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Good times. Sorry,
Excellent.
I just had to
Good
bring
film.
it up. I just love that kind of thing.
I just kind of want to. I just want to. I know we're past this, but I did want to check with you what your last kind of good Pixar film was. I'm just going to run through it. I want you to give me the yay or nay. This hasn't come out yet, but you're pretty.
So you're going from
the
most
latest.
recent. Yeah.
Yeah. So Onward, you're kind of more negative. You haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it.
But you weren't wildly impressed with the trailers, were you?
Yeah. Well.
Okay. So Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I
Toy
think
Story
you
4.
Hated that.
Aren't you going backwards?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Toy Story 4.
No. Hated.
Hated. Incredibles 2. Hated. Coco.
Oh, that was good.
But
But
not like
great.
Pixar. All right. Cars 3.
Mhm.
Finding
You didn't see
Dory.
Cars 3.
Oh,
Hated.
one of the worst.
Oh god. All right.
Finding Dory.
The
fuck.
Good Dinosaur.
I still need to see that one. I think I will like
so
that one.
Good.
No, we've set it up too high. Everyone hated The Good Dinosaur.
Well, that's the thing. I don't
everyone
mind
likes,
hyping that movie up because I don't think
hate.
anyone's actually going to go see it, and anyone that's already seen it hated it. So fuck you. So I don't give a shit. So
We're pulling a scam. We haven't seen it either, but we know no one else has. So we're like, it's actually really good.
we're really hedging our bets at this one. Inside Out,
No.
Monsters University,
No.
Brave,
No.
Cars 2,
No.
Toy Story 3.
Oh, Toy Story 3. There we have it.
That's like a Pixar level good.
2009?
I don't even know. It doesn't have the dates here.
That'd be 2011 or 13.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is like.
There we have it.
I feel bad for you.
I feel great.
I just said like a few fairly decent films and some really good ones as well.
Yeah.
I liked several of those. I hated several of those.
Which ones did you hate?
Pretty much the sequel ones. Monsters University has actually kind of grown on me in the years since I've seen it without having seen it.
Without
again.
having seen it, yeah. Finding Dory, you hated then?
Oh, dude.
Oh, I didn't mind Finding Dory. I didn't like it
That
very
was
much. though.
horrible.
I don't understand what was so horrible about it.
Driving around in the truck at the end. I mean, come on, dude.
Granted, I have not
Come
seen
on,
this
dude.
in a very long time, but that's very interesting because I really enjoyed Coco.
You don't want to go home today, do you?
All right, BP Watchy boy. We're getting out of here. Go check our Bloodshot review. We'll be back next week with the new naming convention. Tell us if you like it.
We might be back next week.
Send us a question. Let us know what you want us to watch. You know, anything.
Because there's no movies this year.
there's-
There's no more
The
movies.
cinema's wiped out.
Send
so
us like recommendations for movies
Please.
that you probably haven't seen.
we'll be back next time with Connor,
Bye.
Benny,
Say your
boy.